Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more details videos. Zverev joins lengthening list of top men's seeds to exit Wimbledon. Gauff stunned in first round. London, world number 3 Alexander Zverev was dumped on the Wimbledon seeds scrap heap after losing a 2-day, 5-set marathon to Arthur Rinderknech. The German, a 3-time Grand Slam finalist, was beaten 7-6-3. 6-7-8, 6-3, 6-7-5, 6-4 by Frenchman Rinderknech in a match that carried over from Monday evening. In fact, it was so long, at 4 hours and 40 minutes, that it actually started in June and finished in July. Zverev is the 4th top 10 player to crash out in the first round at this year's championships, and the highest ranked, joining Lorenzo Musetti, Holger Rune, and Daniil Medvedev through the exit door. Rinderknech, the world number 72, was previously best known for having to retire from a match he was winning at last year's French Open because he injured his foot kicking and advertising hoarding. The 29-year-old said, "I don't even know where to start. My legs are still shaking. I can't do this anymore. We started yesterday at 8 p.m., finished now at 7. What a moment, such emotions." Italian 7th seed Musetti was knocked out by Nikolaos Basilashvili of Georgia. A 6-2, 4-6, 7-5, 6-1 defeat was not a major surprise, however, as Musetti has been recovering from a thigh injury since Roland Garros and was forced to withdraw from Queens last month. There were no such problems for world number 1 Jannik Sinner, who announced himself at this year's Wimbledon with a statement win over fellow Italian Luca Nardi. The 23-year-old dropped only 7 games in a comprehensive 6-4, 6-3, 6-0 victory in an hour and 48 minutes. Sinner slammed down 9 aces among 28 winners and lost only 12 points behind his serve. The 3-time Grand Slam winner has only reached the Wimbledon semifinals once, in 2023, but all roads seem to be leading to a showdown with defending champion Carlos Alcaraz in a repeat of their epic 5-set French Open final, won by the Spaniard last month. While Alcaraz toiled to a 5-set, 4.5-hour win over 38-year-old Fabio Fognini on Monday, Sinner was not hanging around as he raced into the second round, where he will meet Australian Alexander Zverev. "New tournament, new chances, new challenges," Sinner said. "You have one opponent at a time, so obviously I try to keep going and enjoy playing here." 5th seed Taylor Fritz completed his comeback from 2 sets down to oust big-serving Giovanni Pecci-Pericard in 5. Fritz was frustrated on Monday night when officials opted not to finish the match because, at 10:15 p.m., it was deemed too close to the 11 p.m. curfew imposed by the local council. The American returned on Tuesday afternoon to win the 1-set shootout, 6-4. Alexander Bublik, the tricky 28 seed from Kazakhstan, who was a potential third-round opponent for Britain's Jack Draper, was beaten in 5 sets by Spain's John Munar. In the women's draw, Americans Coco Gauff and Jessica Pegula were each upset. The 2nd-seeded Gauff was shockingly knocked out by Diana Yastremska 7-6, 7-3, 6-1, while 3rd-seeded Pegula was ousted by Elisabetta Cacciaretto 6-2, 6-3. Copyright 2025 DPA GmbH, distributed by Tribune Content Agency, LLC. Shaken grass. Zverev falls. Gauff stunned as Wimbledon crumbles for the favorites. Wimbledon 2025 was supposed to be a celebration, a return to the sacred grass courts, where legends find rebirth and new stars write their names in dew-drenched destiny. But this year, as the ivy curled on the walls of the All England Club and champagne glasses clinked in summer sunlight, a storm was building not in the skies, but on the courts. And then the shockwaves came. Part 1. The fall of Alexander Zverev. Alexander Zverev stood tall beneath the spires of Wimbledon, eyes shaded under his white cap, his service motion as fluid as silk. He had the stride of a warrior, coming off a confident clay season and a semi-final run in Paris. Many believed 2025 could finally be the year he added a Wimbledon trophy to his shelf. But no one accounted for the unseeded Czech tornado, Jakub Hradek. The 23-year-old with a scrappy game and a hunger carved out from years of challenger circuits arrived with little buzz. But what he lacked in seeding, he made up for in sheer audacity. His ground strokes, blistering flat and skimming the low Wimbledon bounce, pinned Zverev to the baseline. What was expected to be a straight sets cruise for the German turned into a 5-set roller coaster under the roof of Court 1. Zverev's serve, usually his deadliest weapon, betrayed him when it mattered most, double faulting twice in the final tiebreaker. The crowd gasped, then rose for Hradek's victory, a 6-4, 3-6, 7, 6, 5, 2-6, 7, 6, 8 epic. As Zverev slumped in his chair, towel over his head, the camera caught the haunted look in his eyes. This wasn't just a loss, it was a collapse. The German, once billed as a future #1, had joined the swelling exodus of top seeds, now mere footnotes, in the 2025 Wimbledon story. Part 2. Coco Gauff's crushing blow. While Zverev's fall was slow and suspenseful, Coco Gauff's exit was swift and searing. She had walked onto center court as the new face of American tennis, reigning U.S. Open champion, top 3 seed, and perhaps the only one expected to truly challenge the likes of Iga Swiatek on the grass. Yet, the weight of expectations and the unpredictability of early rounds combined into a perfect storm. Standing across from her was Spain's Lucia Ramirez, a 19-year-old qualifier who'd never played a main draw match at a slam. She had wild curls tucked under her visor and the glint of something dangerous in her eyes. She wasn't here to trade autographs. She was here to rewrite her own story. Ramirez's first serve was erratic, but her return struck gold. With a fearless rhythm and blinding court coverage, she dismantled Gauff's backhand and forced error after error. Gauff, for all her power and poise, seemed caught in the headlights, out of sync, her footwork sluggish, her mind racing. The scoreboard told a brutal tale, 6-2, 6-3. Gauff looked stunned as the handshake concluded. She barely paused for a wave, disappearing through the tunnel with 1,000 questions in her wake. Had she overlooked her opponent? Was the pressure of being America's golden girl cracking the foundation? Or was Wimbledon's grass simply unforgiving this year? Part 3. The dominoes continue to fall. Zverev and Gauff weren't alone in their collapse. Just days prior, world #2 Daniil Medvedev was ousted in a 4-set ambush by Britain's own Callum Baines, an unseeded wildcard with a clay background but a heart carved for center court. Casper Ruud exited in round 1, again struggling to adapt to the slippery green terrain. Even Stefanos Tsitsipas, once a Wimbledon finalist, couldn't survive his second-round clash, out-hit and out-hustled by a 32-year-old journeyman from Portugal. For the men's draw, chaos reigned, with Novak Djokovic out due to lingering knee issues and Carlos Alcaraz falling to a stomach bug just days before the tournament. Wimbledon's throne was vacant, and no prince seemed ready to seize it. Part 4. The Shockwave Effect. Commentators called it the Wimbledon Purge. For decades, Wimbledon had been a fortress for the elite. The likes of Federer, Nadal, Serena, and Djokovic ruled its lawns with iron will and elegance. But this year's tournament was anything but scripted. Veteran tennis journalist Linda Harcourt wrote, "This isn't the passing of the torch, it's the dropping of it." Social media exploded with disbelief. Tennis fans mourned busted brackets. Former champions weighed in from afar. Federer tweeted, "Incredible match from Hradek. Wimbledon always keeps us humble." Serena Williams posted a cryptic Instagram story. "You can't crown them early. Grass doesn't lie." In press conferences, younger players smiled nervously. "No one's safe," said Jannik Sinner, now the highest seed remaining. "This tournament feels wild." Indeed, the doors were now wide open for new heroes to emerge. Part 5. Searching for new stars. With Gauff and Zverev gone, Wimbledon's script flipped to survival stories and fairy tales. Lucia Ramirez became the darling of the media, her emotional post-match interview going viral. "I watched Coco on TV as a teen. Today, I played her on center court. Life is crazy." On the men's side, Jakub Hradek's social media following exploded overnight. Czech fans flooded London, waving flags and chanting his name. Some even dubbed him the new Tomas Berdych, only grittier. Meanwhile, 18-year-old American phenom Kira Sullivan shocked atop 10 seed in her second-round match, signaling the next wave of Gen Z contenders already hungry for the limelight. Part 6. The The future on fragile grass. Wimbledon 2025 was barely into its second week, but already it had rewritten the tournament's legacy. The carefully laid pathways for champions were shattered. The lawns bore the footprints of unlikely victors. The locker rooms echoed with disbelief. For Zverev, it was a moment of reckoning. How many more chances would he get? Could he ever overcome the mental demons that seemed to surface at the worst times? For Gauff, it was a painful reminder that pressure respects no pedigree. She had weathered storms before, but never one like this, with so much riding on her shoulders. Would this loss break her rhythm, or fortify her for the U.S. Open? And for tennis fans, it was a wild, exhilarating reminder of why they watch. Because sometimes, the script is torn to shreds. Epilogue, a new chapter beckons. As the sun dipped behind center court, and night matches flickered under the glow of artificial lights, a new kind of energy surged through the grounds. The stars of yesterday were exiting, not with fireworks, but with stunned silence. And in their place came new faces, new chants, new stories waiting to be written. Wimbledon 2025 will not be remembered for crowning another predictable champion. It will be remembered as the year the grass grew wild, and everyone, top seeds, young guns, and dreamers alike, had to learn how to run through it.